Good morning. We're going to get right into it. After spending a little time exploring the idea of running 3 weeks ago, former New Britain Mayor Erin Stewart, a Republican, went all in, announcing she's running for governor. This is her second time in the race, and Erin Stewart joins me here today in Studio A. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Thank you.
So you became mayor of New Britain at like 14 or something like that, right?
Yeah, I was pretty close. I was 26.
But from that time until now,
yes,
every time an office opened up that you could potentially be a candidate for, everyone said, what about Erin Stewart? Whether it was dog catcher to governor to anything in between, you were always someone that they would mention. So why this race and why now?
Yeah, so I started off my political career as mayor at 26 years old. I served 12 amazing years as mayor of the city of New Britain, and I was so happy and so fulfilled with the amount of work that I was able to do there. I ran for governor before. So in 2018, I was a candidate for governor, ended up dropping down to run for lieutenant governor. I lost in the primary. So I learned a lot about what to do differently from 2018 till today. But I would say that I always had, an inkling to want to serve more, to do more. It was never Congress. It was never state Senate. I knew that my experience in the executive branch and the municipal level could absolutely transfer to the state level, and that's why I'm very excited to finally be here and finally announce that I'm running for governor. It's been the worst kept secret for the last year.
But to make that, and you made that point about having been a chief executive of a city, that is something that sets you aside from the current candidates on the Republican side in the race. How does that help? And then, of course, the quick response will be, but what about the legislative experience?
Of course. So I actually worked in the legislature when I first started. So my very first boss in politics was Congresswoman Nancy Johnson. I was in college at the time when she hired me, and that led to me to work for Governor Jody Rell. Again, still in college, but as I graduated, I had two fantastic Republican female influences early on in my career. But all of that and all the experiences that I had there leading me to run for mayor at the time. Everything that I've done as mayor, all the executive experience, managing staff, managing budgets, dealing with the state laws that get passed down to and unfunded mandates that get passed on to cities and towns has all fueled my fire of things that I want to change on a bigger level, on a bigger scale. That's absolutely what sets me apart from the others that are running. I have that executive experience, but I also have that practical experience too in running an urban municipality in the state of Connecticut where, let's face it, Republicans are severely outnumbered in New Britain, almost 5-1, and I won 6 re-elections in a town where I wasn't supposed to win at all. So I think that says a lot about my ability to relate to people and also to do a good job at managing.
I want to talk about how your path to get through a primary, but I want to just talk about the guy who's in the office right now. Yeah. You've been outspoken that you think that there's mistakes being made by the Lamont administration that you want to fix. Give our viewers some ideas of some things that you think he's gotten wrong.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about this because I think you're talking about it today later in the show. Let's talk about the housing bill for one example. And I think that that's just a microcosm of the bigger problem that we have with the current Lamont administration is there's a lack of transparency and there's a lack of communication with people in our cities and towns, with our leaders, with what people actually want. And I think that looking at what happened with the housing bill and the way that it was done is a perfect example of that. In the dark of night, this bill gets passed without any input, without any public hearings, without any feedback from landlords or current property owners. That to me is not right. I spent 12 years constantly talking to people, listening to what they had to say, going on social media to interact with people. I think that's just one small piece of the bigger problem here with what we have as a governor that's disconnected from what the people of Connecticut want and need.
So Ryan Fazio is in the race, in primary opponent, and he has some support from some prominent conservatives in the legislature. Sure. You've said that you're a moderate Republican in the past. What's your position on that, and do you think that position can win a primary when all the voters have to be Republicans?
Yes, I do believe that because I know that I have what it takes to win in the state of Connecticut. And I think Republicans have a little too many losses under their belt right now, and they're looking for a W and eager for one, and I know that I can bring that to the table. I'm an outsider here. Even though I've worked in the Capitol before, I don't have those endorsements from Republican legislators, and that's okay, because all I need is the endorsement of the people, and that's more important to me than anything. But that doesn't mean that, I don't support a lot of the same ideologies that our Republican Party stands for across the state too.
Is that a tightrope? And I think all Republican candidates, I don't think this is an Erin Stewart question, Mayor, but how do you deal with that? You know, you had distanced yourself from Trump in the past as mayor at times, and now, you know, you did your campaign launch and Trump was in the video. So how do you kind of walk that tightrope? Because you want Republicans to know you're a Republican, I suppose, but you also have to think, I'm going to maybe in a general election if I win this primary.
And there's no doubt to Republicans, they know that I'm a Republican. There's no doubt about that. And I've always kind of taken that side with President Trump. There's no secret about that, where I've said that, you know, I agree with some things that he's doing, but I might disagree with him on the approach, and I'm okay with that. Have you ever found a politician that you agreed with 100% of the time? No. And I don't think that that's any different here in this situation. Listen, I came right out and said it. I voted for him every time. There are things that I support, there are things that I don't, and I think that that's normal with everyone. And I'm proud to stand by that too. I'm not afraid to say that.
One thing that we've seen recently in Connecticut is Attorney General William Tong joining some multi-state lawsuits against the Trump administration, reducing SNAP benefits for refugees, reducing some things for the Department of Housing and Urban Development aims at homelessness. If you are elected, would you ask your Attorney General to do those kinds of things? Do you think Tong got it right on those facts?
Some of the things, you know, that come out with, I feel like Tong is suing the Trump administration every other week for something different. How effective is it actually? I don't think that we really know the answer to that. You know, I'm not interested in doing things just to garner headlines to appease a certain base. I'm interested in doing things to actually make an impact on the people that need it the most. So I'm not searching for the headline. I want to actually do the work. And I think that that's the difference between what kind of leader I would be and what we have right now.
We've talked about your opponents. We've talked about what Governor Lamont got wrong. So what's the Erin Stewart plan? If you are elected, what are some things people can expect to see from a Stewart administration?
I think that it'll be a refreshing change to see somebody from working class Connecticut who grew up working class in a different part of the state bring a fresh perspective to how government should actually work. I do think that there is a feeling that those that are in Hartford are completely disconnected from reality of what our Connecticut families are facing. Listen, I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I get it. I get the cost of groceries that are going up. I understand that daycare is almost unaffordable right now. And you know, as someone who's currently unemployed, you're feeling that pinch even more. But I think it'll be just a very different perspective that I bring, a realist perspective to what people are going through.
30 seconds left. Do you have any plans on any of those issues that you want to share yet?
So on my website, on aaron4ct.com, I announced the 5 initial pillars of my platform, and there's some brief details on there of what we stand for, but lowering taxes, lowering the cost of living here, and just making Connecticut, I think, a happier state is things that I aim to achieve.
Well, as I'm sure many reporters think, I feel like I've been covering you almost your entire life. It's nice to have you on the program, and I suspect over the next year we'll have you back again. Erin Stewart, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll be back.